Hello, everyone. This
How are you?
is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is September the 6th, 2019. Strong hand, one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. Unconfiscatable deferral of gratification. Oh my, we have a very special show today. Yoni Assia is here. He is the CEO and founder of eToro, the world's largest social trading network. Oh, you've heard about it before. You've seen it advertised. I've seen it advertised. We're going to get a CEO's perspective on the space, on Bitcoin, on cryptocurrency, on the future. And the great thing is on September the 10th at the D&DD Summit, which will be linked to below, and Yoni's info will be linked to below, I will be moderating a discussion between him and Udi, and we'll talk more about that later. So my big question here is, what is a social trading network in your definition? I mean, this is what eToro is. People are very curious about it.
So eToro today is basically the largest social trading network in the world with 11 million registered users who can trade stocks from 15 different exchanges, indices, commodities, ETFs, currencies, and cryptocurrencies in one of the brokerage accounts around the world. And then the reason it's a social network is because everybody actually automatically publishes their P&L, their month by month basically performance, and you can see the trade by trade data of all of the users on the platform, and you can see, follow, and automatically copy top traders from all around the world. So you can find someone who did 25% returns in each of the last 3 years trading UK stocks, German stocks, and a bit of crypto. When you copy him with, let's say, $1,000, what it does, it copies his entire portfolio in the same proportion to your $1,000. And every time he trades, it trades in your account at the same time and the same price. So let's say he holds an account, you don't know how much money he has in the account, but 10% of his account is in Bitcoin, 10% is in Google, and 10% is in Facebook. You copy him with $1,000, it'll open on those $1,000, $100 in Google, $100 in Facebook, $100 in Bitcoin. And every time he trades, he'll trade proportionally at the same time, at the same price, in the same amount.
All right, now, is the cryptocurrency aspect of the business, is it completely separate from the traditional, because you've had this business for quite some time, I mean, since before there was cryptocurrency, or basic?
It is a part of the same platform. We're one of the very few regulated brokers in the world who offer our users to trade both crypto and stocks within basically the same platform, the same user interface. You can copy people who invest both in stocks and in cryptocurrencies and maybe even in traditional currencies. So everything is a unified experience. We do also have our blockchain wallet. So if you want to, you can come on and basically buy Bitcoin on the platform and then transfer those Bitcoins into our multi-sig, multi-blockchain wallet where you can basically transfer the assets.
Now you've got a hold shirt on right now. So not only are you a trader and you want people to trade, and again, I am a holder. Adam, I'm asking you all these questions because I don't really know much about trading, but you see it, do you see Bitcoin as a savings account also?
I wouldn't necessarily say savings. I think, I don't love that term. I think Bitcoin, I love it as an asset class. I think it is a first of its kind as a digital native asset. I think its brand awareness around the world is, and has the brand awareness of the Coca-Cola and Starbucks, at least in my little echo chamber. So I definitely believe Bitcoin is here to stay and is here to stay as the king of cryptocurrencies. But I do think that it should be a part of a portfolio, and people shouldn't have all of their savings and all of their investments only in crypto. We need to remember it's a risky asset class. Stocks, capital markets, those are going to be here. Even if Bitcoin supersedes and takes over all the fiat currencies in the world, you're still going to eat McDonald's and drink Starbucks. So I think in general, people need to remember it's a great asset class. Like, by the way, I think gold is an interesting asset class as well. I think it has a huge potential upside, but it needs to be a part of a portfolio, part of your asset allocation, not all of it.
Okay, well, let's dig a little deeper down. So are you saying that the asset class is cryptocurrency, or the asset class is Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin a completely different animal than the rest of the altcoins?
I think it's simply, it's king. So for a lot of people, when you talk about crypto and Bitcoin, it's synonymous, especially those outside of the ecosystem. I think crypto asset class, so again, let's take this a bit macro. I think I love Bitcoin, but I also love blockchain, which is a bit different. Some Bitcoin maximalists think blockchain is a complete bollocks and it doesn't make sense to talk about the technology. When I started trading Bitcoin, a lot of it was because I was excited about the technology. And the reason for it is because I run a fintech company. I've been connected to the banking system and trading venues and liquidity providers of the world. So I truly understand how broken the current financial services industry is from a technical point of view. And I think the concept of blockchain and digital native assets is a revolutionary concept that should be applied to every single asset in the world. And those are, and let me just explain what are those features. My requirement, by the way, both as a business and as a person, is for every native asset, for any financial asset that I hold, I want to have the ability to transfer the ownership to my own account and remove it. So if it's in a bank or a broker, I want to be able to move it to my own ledger and to move it 24/7 to whomever I want. I think that's a feature, that's a great feature that any financial assets need to have as part of the definition of what is a digital native asset. And if that happens, then we're talking about a transition of, I don't know, $100 trillion into the blockchain. So all of those new assets, whether tokenized assets, whether stablecoins, whether it's Libra, those all fall under sort of an umbrella of crypto assets or digital native assets. And I'm a very big believer in that transition in parallel to Bitcoin as a store of value and as a hedge against governments.
All right, you've explained it well. Now I know there are a lot of people that disagree, putting everything on the blockchain type of thing, but you're aiming real high with this, and you brought up a lot of topics that I gotta cover right now. But Bitcoin dominance has hit 70% again. Is this a short-term thing? What's your?
So again, let's split this into three. There are things like stablecoins, things that haven't emerged yet, like art on the blockchain, or digital rights on the blockchain, revenue share stuff on the blockchain, all things that haven't emerged. And there are existing crypto assets like whether it's Ethereum or XRP or BNB. I'm not again. I'm a very pro-innovation guy. I'm an innovator myself. I love technology. I've been in technology and trading since I was very young. So one, I love the concepts of capital markets, and I love the concepts of innovation and internet in general. I think a lot of the crypto movement unifies those two very, very interesting markets of money and something that's tradable with the ability to innovate and to collaborate around innovation. I think that each of the different crypto assets have a theoretical value and a theoretical utility. Whether one of them will ever be as big as Bitcoin, I don't think so. Whether some of them have value, I definitely think so. In each there is a different type of value, right? So it's really about the execution ability. So what you're asking is the team around a specific crypto asset, are they good enough to increase the value and the utility of that crypto asset in relation to its value today? Which is, it's the same as you'd ask around the stock, right? So you buy a stock of a company, there's a lot of intrinsic value you can analyze, like the profits, revenues, etc. Here you don't have that, but the main question you should ask, can the management team take this company sort of and grow it to basically support the growth of a stock? So it's the same around, if it's XRP, you're talking about Ripple Labs. If it's Ethereum, you're talking about the entire group of the Ethereum development network or foundation. And if it's B&B, it's obviously the Binance ecosystem. For each, there's a theory of why it makes sense and how big it potentially can be.
All right. I want everyone watching this show. This has been a great one so far. Pound that like button, everybody. You mentioned Ethereum. I had this lined up. Ethereum has been in the news the last few weeks. All over social media, people have been down on Ethereum. What's your take? Are you down? Are people really just writing it off too early here?
I think people are writing it off. If people are writing it off, I'm not sure who's writing. I think people who are writing it off are people who never wrote it in the first place. So I haven't seen a lot of Ethereum enthusiasts throwing Ethereum away. I saw a lot of Bitcoin maximalists increasing their anti-Ethereum tone, which again, I understand. I think Bitcoin maximalism is sort of like, priests of a religion that are protecting that religion. And when there's something that's religion-like, a lot of times the priests or guardians of that religion would by definition attack anything that's not sort of within that ecosystem. And Ethereum is basically today the second, right? It's second to Bitcoin. It's a significant second, but I think that creates, nobody in the Bitcoin ecosystem wants to see Ethereum succeed, let's say, more than it is today, and even wanted to fail just to prove the point that Bitcoin is the only digital store of value. And I'm not 100% behind that concept of sort of Bitcoin as religion. But though, I understand the role. Like I understand the role of miners. Miners mine to have block rewards to make money. The guardians of the Bitcoin religion are trying to protect its value as the king of Bitcoin, as the king of crypto.
Now, I mean, you did say earlier that you really don't see anything surpassing Bitcoin in the future in what it does.
I definitely think Bitcoin as a crypto asset, as a cryptocurrency, my intuition is, it will never lose its kingdom. And the reason is not necessarily the level of decentralization, which I think is important, and not necessarily the technology, which I think is important. I think it's really around the community around it, which is quite resilient, and the fact, and its brand awareness. I think you can't buy what Bitcoin means to probably hundreds of millions of people today already. You can't buy that for money. It's very hard to surpass that. Again, that's one person's view who runs a company where people trade crypto alongside other assets.
So yeah, one of my slogans is Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Like it stopped being many coins try to be the next Bitcoin, only Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. With that in mind, is Ethereum the next Ethereum though? For what it does, is there do you have the same confidence and with its brand that's very well known, that it cannot be surpassed? Are you as strong in your belief in terms of Ethereum as you are in Bitcoin not being surpassed? That Ethereum remains...
I think, again, for every crypto asset, you need to figure out what is the utility of that crypto asset. I think Bitcoin main utility today is censorshipless store of value that has the transfer features built into it, right? And I think that's really today the main sort of core value of Bitcoin is that store of value, and as such, I think it's the king of crypto in that category. And it represents a hedge against government. So really its utility is how many more people buy Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin is the utility of Bitcoin, which is quite interesting. Where Ethereum, as an example, has another utility. And the utility of Ethereum is really the usefulness of the Ethereum network. It's about how many people create decentralized apps that run on Ethereum and use gas, and how many active users are using those apps and increase the usage of gas on the Ethereum network. So far, we've seen initial success for the Ethereum protocol with the ICOs, and I think we sort of also saw the, let's call it sort of demise of sort of the run-free ICO rally that we've seen in 2017. But I still think, I have MetaMask on my laptop. I used several dApps. I bought some CryptoKitties. So I think there is value, but the real value of Ethereum will emerge as the ecosystem matures and as there is a direct correlation between how many users use dApps on the Ethereum network, how many dApps there are, how much gas is used. And you can sort of, in every asset, look for the same analysis, right? BNB, the main utility of BNB is sort of discounts on the BNB network, staking for IOs, benefits basically that they're inventing and pouring into their ecosystem. So if you believe in the Binance ecosystem and let's call it corporate governance that will keep on that relationship between the Binance ecosystem, Binance users, and the token, then potentially it could rise. There's a lot of trust embedded into this ecosystem when there are clear teams, whether it's Ripple Labs with XRP or whether it's the Tron Foundation. In each of them, you need to trust the team to support that token for its utility.
Let's talk about something you brought up briefly. It was, you said stablecoins and Libra. Now, Libra has obviously been in the news. The guy we'll be on stage with in a few days, Udi, says Libra's not happening. What's your thought on Libra? And is it going to happen? You're innovation guy, so I think I know what you're saying.
Yes, I think Libra is going to happen. I think generally it's a very smart, nice effort project driven by Facebook, very, very inspired from the crypto community, though some crypto people would not like to admit it. They have launched an open source blockchain. They have been calling it a crypto. It has initially a network of 100 validators, somewhat reminding stuff like EOS or XRP, etc. Again, other crypto assets, and supported in theory pseudo-anonymous transfers on the network. That's the initial white paper. So I think all of that means they actually launched a very nice white paper and potentially could raise billions upon billions of dollars for Libra. Will it happen? Yes, I think Facebook will launch it because Mark is Facebook, Facebook is Mark, and I think it's going to be hard for people to stop someone like Mark. That's my view. I might be wrong. The market forces might be stronger than I think, but it's a similar sort of structure as Ethereum. Has anybody stopped Ethereum yet? Has anybody closed Ethereum? Is anybody sort of after Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation? No. So why is Libra so different than people think it will be stopped? I don't know. Is there a good chance that that it's going to be a more closed ecosystem? There's a good chance they'll have to make concessions with regulators to make sure that they're able to protect sort of anti-money laundering rules, etc. So will they launch exactly what they said in the white paper? I think they'll have to make concessions towards regulators to make it something that Udi would probably say, so they just did another Apple. But they did, another PayPal. But I think, Facebook building their own PayPal together with PayPal and Coinbase and Visa and MasterCard and other group of companies building sort of an open source payment network is a cool thing, and it's cool that it's based on the blockchain.
Well, this is the thing. The government bureaucrats, I think, they are used to the paradigm where countries are more powerful than companies. And the way it looks to outsiders is that Libra is going to make its own currency. And thus, Facebook is going to become more powerful than many countries. And I like that. I like that a lot. What's your take on this? Is it all right?
First of all, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook are already bigger and stronger and more impactful on the world than most countries. Not all countries, but most countries. With 1 billion users here and 2 billion users there, they're quite powerful as is. And I think we are living in a very interesting time where we have 4 forces. By the way, these forces were there even before crypto, but I think now we're starting to see sort of the clash of those forces. It's the large tech companies, it's the regulators and governments, it's the libertarian cyberpunk movement, which started all this, and it's the traditional financial institution system, which is a very powerful industry.
Yes.
I do think, maybe I'm naive, I do think eventually tech companies have a relatively good moral and sort of moral compass. And what they don't have, and I love that, is they don't have weapons. So for, I prefer giving more power to entities that don't have weapons than to giving more power to entities that have weapons in general. But I think it's a very big, we don't know, and then multiply these 4 sort of forces by the ones, in the different countries, right? Because we are living in the era of trade wars, of populist leaders, sort of becoming the new type of leaders, or whoever is shouting louder, which is not, by the way, a great thing in my opinion, but that's what we're seeing right now. So those forces of trade wars, of the changing ecosystem, together with this technological paradigm shift, I think we're just at the beginning of it. And I think 20 years from today, we're going to be in a very different world than we live in today.
I agree. It's the beginning of a golden age. Pound that like button, people. You brought up the 4 players. One of them were with traditional finance, which is very, very powerful. Van Eck, Backed. All these, we hear names that are going to enter the space. What is your take in what's about to happen? The news broke, obviously, this week that Van Eck is coming up with a sort of ETF that's not for the general public, I guess. What's the role of traditional finance in the space? Or should people be worried? I think it's great.
I think in general it's the same role that newspapers had in the internet. So The smart ones will adapt, right? So media companies that ran newspapers who figured out how to adapt to the internet potentially grew bigger. The internet is bigger than the newspaper industry, but whoever learned how to build a website and do clickbait articles managed to grow their business through the internet. So I think traditional finance is going to use blockchain because blockchain is going to eat eventually traditional finance. The ones who are adapting to it fast are the smart ones who are going to survive this paradigm shift. Venek in general are very crypto bullish. I love, what they're doing. Jean Venek and Gabor are very sort of determined to see this Venek ETF coming up. And I think they found a nice, logical, potential solution to make it only accessible for accredited investors, I think, or institutions. And let's see if it gets approved. I think it's a great step in the ecosystem to enable more traditional investors to buy Bitcoin. We want traditional investors to buy Bitcoin. Traditional investors, pension funds, asset managers will find it very hard to buy Bitcoin, regular Bitcoin, let's call it. So it makes sense for it to be wrapped as an ETF. And, things like Backed, which is sort of a spin-off of ICE. I think having more participants in the ecosystem is generally a positive thing. Do I think there's a lot of appetite right now? I'm not sure how big the appetite is of institutional investors running into crypto, but let's see. Well, everything will be transparent. So, when something like a Venek ETF launches, at least one thing is for sure, we'll be able to see its AUM like we can see the AUM of GBTC, of the Grayscale OTC traded fund.
Now, so yeah, it will be interesting to see if they really do have as big of an interest, the traditional finance people, that we've been led on to believe. Now, in the current state, and you see your numbers, how many people use trade crypto at the site and everything. Retail, regular people, from the people I've been talking to, it appears to me we haven't had too many new retail people lately get into Bitcoin. Regular Joes and Janes, I don't think they're buying crypto. What are your numbers like? What do you think's going on currently?
So we have seen a significant pickup from the crypto winter era, right? Which isn't that long ago, 6 months ago. So we've seen significant pickup in the interest in cryptocurrencies over the past 6 months. Sort of from Q1 to Q2, we saw at least growth of 200 to 300%, if not more, in the level of interest of consumers in crypto. We're still very far off from the level of interest there was in December 2017. Now, whether that will come back anytime soon, I think it's an open question. So that's a recent realization I had, is while everybody's expecting sort of crypto rally 2.0 to come, I'm not sure necessarily that's the most probable scenario. I think there's a good chance we're going to see Bitcoin going up maybe to 50,000, but it's going to take 5 to 10 years of gradually going up through gradual adoption, through maturity of the network, through gradually more and more people buying it. I think there is a possibility, a scenario where it goes from 10,000 to 50,000 in 2 months, but that's not necessarily the best thing for the ecosystem.
And we saw that last time because a lot of people ended up disappointed when it did a jump like that. But I warn people, I say, it's a roller coaster. It's so early. Don't get discouraged because of tremendous drops. Over the long run, it is going up. Now, you're a marketing guy. I mean, your show's it's advertised. eToro is advertised on the Ben Shapiro show. I've heard it on. I've seen it banner ads. You just sponsored Russell Okun's event in LA. But this halving that we have coming up, a Bitcoin halving, and I'm going to tie it all together in a second, that's natural marketing for Bitcoin. Could that be the trigger to send, instead of a 10-year gradual build up, which was one of your scenarios, could that be the trigger to wake people up? Because most people don't know about the halving now. I mean, if you took a survey, I bet most people on your site that are playing around, but they don't know what the halving is. They're just in it to make money. So could the halving be a natural marketing tool? And what are your thoughts on the halving?
I think what the halving does, it reduces inflation in Bitcoin, and it reduces it for the first time under the inflation of gold. So it's suddenly becoming almost by definition a deflationary asset. From an expected deflationary asset, it actually is becoming a deflationary asset compared to all assets post-halving. So there's going to be less block rewards that miners can sell on the market and pressure price down. So from a purely logical point of view, is that something that should support price? Yes, 100%. But efficient market theorem says it's potentially already baked in the price. It's because everybody knows halving is coming. So if everybody knows halving is coming and it might have an impact, it doesn't mean that every person who is basing his trading strategy on halving should have already bought Bitcoin since he knows halving is coming. So again, there's always a question of what is already baked into the price. I still think there are a lot of people holding crypto that if crypto now rises to 20,000, a lot of them are going to sell. And as long as that's the case, there's sort of a resistance there. But again, this is the markets. The markets have the life of its own. We can wake up a month from today in Bitcoin at 5,000 or at 50,000. In the long term, 100% I agree. As long as Bitcoin remains king, which I assume it does, we're going to see a significant uptick in price compared to today. How long it takes, how exactly it happens, is something we'll need to watch the markets.
In this market, I think you give the market a lot of credit for its knowledge. I mean, just 2 years ago, people were in the same market where they thought these ICOs were totally legitimate. I think the market is made up of a lot of people who do not understand what they're doing. What the halving is. So I mean, you said everybody knows about the halving. I think very few people. So I just wanted to toss that out there. That I remember last time around, as more and more people found out about this halving thing, the price did go up. Then it started to be priced in my opinion at least. And it was a lot of stories were written about it. More and more, there's a lot of halving hype, and I see something similar like that happening this time. But we will have to see.
There's still some time by halving. We have some time.
Yeah.
So that might happen, but maybe 3-6 months from today.
Yes. Well, it's not even 2020 yet. I don't want to rush things. I'm enjoying it. All right. I didn't even know eToro was based in Israel. I had no clue until I was told, you were the dude behind it. And I was like, oh, whoa, what's going on here? What about you've been all over the world. What about the Israeli crypto ecosystem? Is it bigger, better? What's your take on the ecosystem?
There are a lot, I think, 100 to 200 crypto companies in Israel, startups. I think a lot of interest in the ecosystem, a lot of great tech around cybersecurity and crypto assets coming from Israel, around sort of custody, security of crypto assets, some interesting sort of companies that, like Blocks that does portfolio management across all of your crypto assets, ledgers, exchanges. So I think there are a lot of interesting companies in Israel, a very vibrant sort of ecosystem of innovators We have Ethereum also coming here to Israel in 2 weeks, and the D&D conference. So I think it's a great ecosystem. It's growing. There's a lot of challenges for people on the aspect of actually getting money in and money out of Israel that people aren't familiar with. So the banking industry is very anti-crypto in Israel. So it's hard for people to actually convert crypto assets back into fiat, into Israeli bank accounts. So there's a high level of regulatory uncertainty. But I think in general, the same as, fintech is a very big ecosystem. There's about 600 fintech companies in Israel. I think at least 5 fintech unicorns in Israel. And I think that fintech and blockchain have a lot of connectivity between them.
All right. I tell people, value your wealth in Bitcoin. You don't need to change it back into shekels, people. Once you got the Bitcoin, just live in the Bitcoin world. Well, tell us at eToro, what's the latest news over there? What's the big stuff you got to share with the world? It's time to promote the company on here. What's the latest and greatest thing going on in eToro?
So, we're very excited about the launch in the US. We're very new in the US. We've been running eToro for the past 12 years around the world. We have offices in Australia, in China, in 3 places in Europe, in the UK, in South Africa. So very excited about launching our crypto platform in the US. Outside the US, we offer both stock trading and crypto. Very looking forward to do that also in the US within the next 6 months, sort of launching our complete offering in the US. Very excited about eToro X. We launched recently our crypto assets exchange. So eToro in its core is a social trading platform where you can buy both stocks and crypto assets, but it's a fiat in, fiat out ecosystem. We have then the wallet, which enables you to transfer assets from the trading platform into the wallet. And we just recently launched eToro X, which basically enables people to trade any crypto assets to one another. But together with it, we actually built our own issuance platform and launched 12 stablecoins. We're actually going to launch a couple of additional stablecoins in the next couple of months. And the stablecoins basically cover the top 10 fiat, gold, and silver. So we're the only crypto asset exchange where you can actually trade euro dollar, gold, Bitcoin, Litecoin, euro, yen, pound, all of the combinations of both crypto assets and our 12 stable coins. And we're going to now launch another range of stable coins. So we're connecting, and that's really how we look at the role of eToro in the blockchain industry or the crypto industry. We're sort of the bridge between the traditional world of sort of trading and investing and this new exciting world of crypto trading.
Wow, I was going to ask you about stable coins. You've got a lot invested in it. It seems like in terms of you believe in stable coins. You really do. Do you have any? Because there's a lot of people that are just like so blah about it, but it seems like you're on the other side of things. What is up?
I think, again, we deal so much with the traditional financial services industry. And I've had that experience of working with, probably 4 or 5 dozen financial institutions, banks, their APIs. For me, the ability, again, to take a euro, a dollar, a yen, a pound, gold, silver, an asset, and being able to transfer that asset from any place to any place, 24/7, with low fees, and being able to transfer it into my ledger, and then I decide where to send it next. I think that is an embedded feature that needs to be embedded in any financial asset in the world, period. I think that should become eventually a requirement that if you offer financial services to people, you need to enable them to download the assets to their own ownership and send it to whomever you want. You don't need to control it as a financial intermediary anymore. And I think that's what stablecoin represents. Stablecoin represents basically a next step in the balance sheet of companies and how they can enable that balance sheet to move between people, between companies in a click of a button through blockchain technology.
Wow, Yoni Assia, what a guest, the CEO perspective on this gigantic crypto ecosystem. Remember, on Tuesday the 10th, the D&DD Summit, it is linked to below. He'll be on stage with Udi and me, and we're gonna have a blast. So everybody come to that. Tel Aviv Blockchain Week. It's basically already started. Fly in, hang out at the Bitcoin Embassy, see everybody. This is quite a town for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency. Is there anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
Thank you very much for having me, and go to eToro.com or download our app to see how people actually know how to trade crypto.
All right. This has been a pleasure, Yoni. I really hope you return to the show in the future. I can't wait to meet you in person on Tuesday. It is going to be a blast. All right, everybody. That is it.
See you next week.
That was This Week in Bitcoin. What a classic. Remember, check out all the links below. Pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Subscribe to the channel. And Shabbat Shalom. We will see you here Saturday. There's a new show here every day. This Week in Bitcoin is every Friday. Take care, everyone. See ya. Bye-bye.